Diamond C Fundamental for Success number 9, speak straight. Speak honestly and in a way that is progressive. Make clear and direct requests. Say what you mean and be willing to ask questions, share ideas, and raise issues that may cause healthy conflict when it's needed for team success. Scott, thanks for joining me for a few minutes to discuss this fundamental. It's a powerful one, no doubt. And when I thought about who should I interview, you were the first one that came to mind because we have been in a number of meetings over the last few years where I have been waiting on someone to ask the question or address the elephant in the room, waiting patiently, and it'll be dead silence until finally you speak up and ask the question that everyone else is thinking about. And I so appreciate it. I believe it's critical for progress that we address the elephant in the room, that we talk about these things. So when I thought speak straight, you were top of the list.
Well, I appreciate that.
So I'm curious to hear from you on it. This idea of speaking straight can be intimidating for many, of course. That's why, what I just talked about, why many people sit there silently. It can be intimidating, a little scary to be the one sticking your neck out there a little bit. But you seem to be pretty comfortable with it usually and pretty confident in that. So I'm curious, kind of where did your confidence in speaking straight come from?
I think it's a personality trait. I think it can be learned. I think some people are a little more outspoken, a little more confident in what they say than others. Mm-hmm. But definitely think it's something that could be learned by other people to take advantage of.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you see that in have you seen it show up in your career over the years where, speaking straight was your means to move forward, so to speak?
It usually helps get answers. Be in meetings where you tend to talk in a circle or something until you speak up and finally ask the question or provoke the thought that derives the answer and get people to think about it. Mm-hmm. You're not always going to walk into a room and change somebody's mind, but your mindset has to be that if there's something that needs to be said, say it to provoke that thought so that it's least included in the decisions that are made.
Yeah, for sure. So that's connecting some dots for me because I know that you seem to be a guy that generally likes to have a plan and a clear next steps, right? A clear direction. And I think maybe seems like that's where some of your confidence in speaking straight comes from, because that's one of the ways you use to clear the path forward.
Yes.
To connect those dots and clear the path forward.
Yes. I've always taken the approach that when you walk out of a room, if it's not clear and everybody's not on the same page, you wasted your time.
Yeah.
So while you're sitting there, people are having the discussion, whether it be good, bad, or indifferent. You've got to bring up those topics to at least know if they fit, how they fit, where they fit, so that they're addressed.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. So what would you say are keys to success for effectively speaking straight?
Know your self-confidence, know kind of where you're at, and be willing to do it. You have to be ready to do it. You can't expect any necessarily results from it. Mm-hmm. Again, like I said, you're not going into it with the intention of changing somebody's mind. You're going into it to provoke that thought so that things can be deliberated, they can be discussed, and get to the right resolution. Yeah. So many times, like you said early on, you'll sit in a meeting, you've heard people talk, grumble, whatever it may be in discussion, but nobody's willing to step up and ask that question. And so it goes unaddressed, and then it just continues to be the problem or the root cause of a problem down the road.
Right.
And so you've got to know that you can step up and do it and be willing to participate in the conversation that follows and then accept whatever the final result is.
Absolutely. That makes sense. So where have you seen anywhere along the way this fundamental, this idea of speaking straight go south? Can it cross over? Because that's the fear, right? That's when people are intimidated by it. Like, is it going to be a fight, an argument?
You can't go argumentative. It's got to be a progressive conversation. You got to be asking questions or bringing up topics to try to get to a decision or a resolution. Mm-hmm. It can't be argumentative or confrontational. And so you have to make sure that you approach it with that mindset. And if you do, I think it's a win-win.
Yeah, absolutely. I always think about this in the context of like being emotionally charged or not. and when I need to push in and advance or back away. And it's one of the things that if I'm feeling emotionally charged, fired up about something, that's always an indicator to me that I need to back away for a little bit before I go in, so that it's not confrontational or I don't approach it with a bad attitude to start with, because that becomes not progressive. But I would say, and you speak to this too, but all the times over the years where I've had to have really hard speak straight conversations, which they're not always this big hard conversation, but sometimes they are. In all the years that I've had to have a big hard speak straight conversation, somewhere along the way, I don't think I've ever walked away from one that wasn't productive in moving the ball forward for me and you, or me and whoever, in some way, shape, form, and really honestly building trust through that process. Doesn't mean that we always solve all the world's problems in one speak straight conversation, but they're always progressive as long as we don't go into them with that emotionally charged state of defend myself.
Yes. Well, and a lot of times, it's not always involved as a discussion between a group trying to find a solution. Sometimes it can be, for any of our team members we have that are in a leadership role, if they have somebody that maybe is not doing something just exactly to the process or the way that it needs to be done, it could be in because they were never shown the correct way. Mm-hmm. And if you can go have a conversation with that person, speak straight to them and be very clear in the direction, now they know how to go into it. There was nothing confrontational about that that conversation. You just had to make sure that you were very clear, very concise on the steps that need to be followed, and you've cleaned it up.
Yep, absolutely. It's worth the risk. It's
Absolutely
worth the risk. No question in that. And that it's essential for progress of a team, essential for clearing the way for a team. I think that's, I said earlier, the dots I connected from this conversation is speaking straight is not just for me or for you or for any individual in the team. It's to gain understanding, to gain thorough understanding of one another, so that we have a clear path forward, right? And can solve problems and create new things and fuel the growth and success of our team members and customers and community through that. So for anyone out there that is intimidated by speaking straight, have courage, take heart, and have confidence in that end goal of progressing the total team is more valuable than any intimidation or lack of confidence. So step up and speak straight, share how you feel, ask the tough questions, so that you and the people around you can work together, make progress together, and fuel the growth and success of our team members and our customers and our community together.